Hello students, myself Dharmendra Solanki, Assistant Professor in Mining Engineering Department of Raj Engineering College, Jodhpur. Today I will discuss on topic subsidence under subject Strata Control for B.Tech 4th Sem Mining Engineering students. In this lecture we will discuss on these points. First, theories of subsidence. Second, subsidence measurement techniques. Third, damages due to subsidence. Fourth, methods of preventing damages. In classification of theories of subsidence, there are two theories. First, descriptive theory. Second, continuum mechanics theory. In descriptive theory, there are Trough subsidence and factors influencing subsidence. In continuum mechanics theory, first theory is elastic theory. Second is elastic plastic theory. Descriptive theories. Observation of surfaces above the excavated underground openings form the basis of deductions with respect to ground movements between the surfaces and underground openings. Wider applicability than continuum mechanics theories. Bulk of current understanding about subsidence characteristics derives from these theories. Trough subsidence. This type of subsidence is usually associated with the extraction of thin horizontal or flat dipping ore bodies overlain by weak, non-brittle sedimentary strata. Surfaces directly above excavated openings usually subside in a trough, the area of which extends beyond the limits of the excavated underground opening. Trough subsidence is symmetrical about mining geometry with maximum subsidence at the mid-span of opening. Magnitude of subsidence gradually reduces outwards and away from the center and vanishes. In this picture, a underground coal seam was extracted by using longwall method. Due to this extraction, a trough subsidence was created on surface like this. Now we will discuss on factors influencing subsidence. First is angle of draw, second seam thickness, third width and depth of opening, fourth type of supports, fifth seam inclination, and sixth time. First factor which influence subsidence is angle of draw. What is angle of draw? It is the angle between the vertical and the line joining edge of excavation with the point at the surface where subsidence diminishes to zero. It defines the limit of subsidence with respect to a particular underground opening and is sometimes called limit angle. It ranges from 8 degree to 45 degree depending upon the coal field. It depends on depth, seam thickness and local geology, especially major faults or fracture planes or the location of self-supporting strata above the coal seam. Second factor is seam thickness. It affects the magnitude of surface subsidence. If all other factors are same, then thicker the seam, the larger is the surface subsidence because a larger void is left to be filled. The maximum possible surface subsidence is S max equal to MA, where M is seam thickness and A is subsidence factor, which ranges from 0.1 to 0.9 depending upon a coal field, method of packing and also seam depth in few cases. Third factor which influence subsidence is width and depth of opening. Width and depth of an underground opening together determine the critical area or area of influence. If lines inclined at an angle equal to angle of draw are drawn from a point on the surface above an underground excavation, and if they intersect the coal seam at 2 points, then the distance between these 2 points is known as critical width. As the depth increases, critical width also increases. For a coal seam at fixed depth, if an underground opening is as wide as the critical width with respect to a surface point, then maximum possible subsidence occurs at this point. If the opening is wider than the critical width, an area in the mid-span will experience the maximum possible subsidence. The width of the opening is called supercritical width. If the opening is narrower than the critical width, the maximum subsidence occurs at the mid-span but is less than the maximum possible subsidence for the seam. The width of the opening is then called subcritical width. An opening of a particular width is a supercritical width at a shallow depth but becomes critical and then subcritical at greater depth. Therefore, depth and width both must be specified for determining amount of subsidence. Fourth factor is type of supports. Amount of convergence of underground openings depends on types of support used, which in turn determines the amount of roof materials to be caved or indirectly the magnitude of subsidence. Fifth factor is seam inclination. For inclined seams, the surface subsidence trough is displaced towards the deeper edge of the opening and depending on the inclination may be located outside the deep edge of opening. It is an inclined cold seams where working was collapsed due to subsidence. It is limit line, it is maximum subsidence, this is magnitude of subsidence, and it creates subsided ground surface which creates subsidence troughs. It is angle of draw. Subsidence is maximum at the point normal to the center of the opening rather than directly over the center of the opening as in case of horizontal seams. Angle of draw is no longer constant but depends on the deep angle of the seam being smallest at the rise edge of the opening and increases towards the deep edge. Sixth factor is time. Both instantaneous and time-dependent subsidence are associated with underground excavations. Time-dependent portion is much less than the instantaneous one. It is also known as residual subsidence. Residual subsidence may start after the active instantaneous subsidence is completed or it may occur simultaneously with instantaneous subsidence. Amount of residual subsidence is proportional to rate of subsidence of surface points. Residual subsidence can amount to 9% of total subsidence if face is stopped within the critical width of the surface point and reduces to 2 to 3% if face has passed the critical width. Residual subsidence or the duration of surface subsidence also depends on the strata condition, depth of extraction, kinds of packing, and it may range from several days to several years. Duration is longer for thick bedded or stronger overburden, for greater depth and for complete caving. For a small extraction area of the relatively mobile overburden mined in a very short time, the rate of subsidence is proportional to the difference between the final subsidence and instantaneous subsidence. In classification of subsidence theories, second type of theory is continuum mechanics theories. It is used to derive information on stresses and strains, difficult to apply because of complex variation of geological structures from area to area, the exact boundary condition and material properties. In continuum mechanics theory, first theory is elastic theory. It was given by D.S. Berry in 1964. Elastic ground movement for three kinds of underground excavation closure development were analyzed. First, non-closure, floor and roof, never met. Second, partial closure. Third, complete closure. Excavations were treated as displacement discontinuities by using a complex potential method for partial closure. Results were then extended to non-closure and complete closure as limits. It was found that surface subsidence calculated for isotropic material was smaller than actual measurements. Therefore, theory for transversely isotropic ground was developed in two dimensions. In continuum mechanics theory, second type of theory is elastic plastic theory. This was given by Doll and Choi, who found that mine subsidence is essential time independent and that measured surface strains frequently exceed the elastic limits. Therefore, they suggested a model which behaves in an elastic elastoplastic manner. This model uses three-dimensional finite element method to reproduce subsidence profiles from the subsidence survey. Remaining part of this topic will be discussed in next lecture, subsidence part B. Thank you.